Well, thank you guys all for being here. We have 141 registered today and 90 are present. And I'm sure they'll be clicking in as we go. I think a lot of people just wait for about 5 minutes till my opening's over. Then they get on here where they don't have to endure that. But we'll go ahead and get started. And as usual, thank you for giving up this part of your Thursday. And it's always great to have everyone on here. And this is January 6th, 2022. I said it correctly. And we are recording this session. So if you have to leave early or you know someone that's missing, you can go to YouTube and pick this up.
Does that mean I have to behave now, Mark, that you're recording?
When you see your face come up, there can be no, yeah, you got to behave.
Okay. All right.
And so we do give this notice every now and then because some people, for different reasons, don't want their picture on the YouTube. And so, but these are Zoom-based sessions and they're hosted by CTAT. And we virtually always post these on social media platforms such as YouTube. And so if you don't want to have your picture displayed, you may still participate, but make sure you turn your video off. Otherwise, your participation serves as consent for your picture to be posted via Zoom frame on social media platforms. Thank you very much. And so breaking news, the CTAT roundtable discussions, I know we talk about this every month, but they're certainly invaluable. And this is one of the good things I believe that have come out of COVID is that we have these monthly meetings and it gives you guys a chance to teach to each other and learn from each other. And it's just invaluable. I know I pick up something every time, every Thursday. I just leave the session feeling just a tad smarter from learning from you guys. So thank you all very much for participating. And happy New Year to all of you for 2022. I hope that all of you have a fantastic 2022 school year to finish out in the spring. And we wish all of you a great and happy start. Today I just want to take a minute to talk about January 6th because today, as you can see on your calendar, I always circle mine in big red circle. It's January 6th. And of course, we always think of that because it's 2 days before Elvis's birthday. Elvis was born on January 8th, 1935. And although there's still some Elvis sightings and you still see some pictures every now and then, I think there's some falsifieds, even like this one of Elvis and Bigfoot riding the Loch Ness Monster. Unfortunately, the king is dead. But you can share with me, David, my next concert is I'm going to go see Craig Parker Saturday night on Elvis's birthday and the Royal Tribute Band at the Irving Music Hall at Carpenter Hall. So
awesome.
Long live the king and happy birthday, Elvis. And of course, just like Elvis, Bigfoot, and the Loch Ness Monster, we always work better together. And that's what the CTAT roundtable discussions are about, is working together. And that's how we all truly thrive. The news, of course, on the corona news, like we always say, no news is good news. And even though we have the new Omicron variant running through our communities, there still hasn't been a call to shut down many schools. I did see where about 3 schools in the Metroplex delayed openings, but they will be returning in face very soon. Also, we had some reports on here in our pre-roundtable discussion about some districts that lost some bus routes because some bus drivers weren't available. So anecdotally, there are some news stories going around, but for the most part, all the schools have opened and they are back in person. Other updates, again, we always talk about this at the beginning in case we have anyone new. We talk about CTAT programming. Not only do we do these monthly roundtables, but we do the Next Gen administrators that meet the 3rd Thursday of every month. And that's for new and beginning coordinators and specialists and new directors with less than 3 years experience. Also coming up this February 7th through the 9th will be our Winter 22 conference for CTAT. And I'm sure that everyone on this Zoom roundtable will be in attendance, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you live for only the second time since the plague hit. And of course, we're still doing program evaluations. If you have any program evaluations, we're starting to schedule for maybe late February, but for sure March. So make sure if you want or need a program evaluation, just shoot me an email and we'll send you a quote out. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel because anytime we post a new video, we always put that on there. If you're subscribed and hit that bell, it'll ding you and pop up in your email. Don't forget to utilize the CTAT open forum. I know as we begin to fill out our new Perkins applications, there will be a lot of questions, even though it appears that it's going to be very similar to 2 years ago, but use this discussion. I think the best thing that I've seen the discussion forum used for lately are people posting open positions and also sharing curriculum ideas. If there's a number one attribute that I had to say was in the discussion forum, Connect CTAT, it would be in sharing curriculum ideas. And don't forget that the library is function there. So if anyone posts a document, Tracy Hendricks one time posted their CTE handbook, and you can go in and find that handbook that was posted over a year ago. It's still in the library function, and you can see those attachments, and that's where the documents are stored. And also, if you're not getting the newsletters from the Texas Education Agency, they do a fantastic job of contacting us and letting us know what's on the horizon and keeping us up to date. And they do that through those newsletters. And you can go to the TEA Career Technical Education homepage and sign up for the newsletters. And also they've been kind enough to post the archive newsletters there from months past. Don't forget, if you haven't registered for the Winter CTAT Conference 2022, it's going to be in San Antonio. And Robin, we have until the 16th, is that correct, to register? Is that what Leslie said yesterday? I believe that's right. Register tomorrow. If you haven't registered yet, just get in there and register tomorrow if you're still wanting to attend. And February 7th through the 9th at the Hyatt, a good time will be had by all, I promise. And I also think that this is going to be one of the most informative conferences ever because we had a record turnout on presentations, and we've looked through those and there's just some outstanding content. So thank you all for your presentations, and thank you for coming to conference. Pre-registration deadline, Robin just posted it, is January 28th. So make sure you get that done this month. Oh, deadline, Leslie just posted, if you want a hotel at the Hyatt, make sure that you reserve that by January 16th, and that is the host hotel. Okay, of course, presentations are closed just like I talked about, but we still want you to be thinking of presentations for the summer conference, and we'll go ahead and start collecting those, right after the winter conference. So we want you to present, and we're already preparing to recruit those for the summer. Of course, thank you all for being a part of CTAT, and that's the hashtag Better Together. Thank you all. The last time we were together, Robin talked about the State Board of Education meeting that happened November 16th through the 19th, and the revisions and the TEKS that they were looking at. And one of the things is that a lot of the CTE courses were moving from chapter 130 to 127 because they were effectively running out of 130 numbers. And those 130 and 127, they correlate with chapters in Texas Administrative Code. So chapter 130 is CTE that falls the line with career clusters, and 127, I always think of those as being generic, like career preparation and investigating careers. But so anyway, unfortunately, they're going to have to start moving the new courses into 127. And then Robin talked to you about the new prerequisites, and I'm going to go through these fast because we talked so much about it last time, but this was as they were proposed. But then when they actually came out, based on what you did and your feedback that you provided during these roundtables and during the open discussion, Robin sent a letter to the State Board of Education. I know that Robin, if she was on here, she would, Michael Rodriguez asked a question about are they going to update the service ID numbers to align with 130. Michael, and I'm 99% sure, but what I believe is as they put in the new CTE courses and the ones that are going from innovative to full CTE, those will become 127 courses. So the bad thing about that is we used to tell people that it was all just, they could all be 130, but now we're going to have a mixture of 127s and 130s. But going back to our TEKS, you can see that the prerequisites, but if you look in there, you remember they had in there that a student had to have one of the prerequisites was a course from the health science clusters. Those have all been changed to recommended prerequisites. And that was based primarily on input that we received from this group at the December or November, it was the December roundtable, and then Robin was able to compile that input that you provided, and she sent that to the state board. And I know that Tom Maynard helped us out a bunch on that. And so thank you, Tom. Thank you, Robin. And as you can see, I just put some examples in here. This is medical microbiology. Oops.
So Mark, is that true for all of the courses that were on that initial list where we're looking at them having to complete a tier 2 or higher course in that program of study?
Michael,
that course?
I've read through all of them. I didn't see any that were not recommended. So I did send that link out, and I'll put it in the chat again when we're done. But that link out, and you can double check it because you're going to be able to recognize stuff better than I can because it specifically applies to courses that are in your district. But everyone I looked through went from what was a mandatory prerequisite back to a recommended. Again, World Health Research, again, recommended. Here was pathophysiology is one that came up quite a bit in our last roundtable. Again, recommended, as you can see. Forensic science, again, remained recommended. And so I just put those examples in there just to show you that I think we're in pretty good shape relative to what you guys were requesting from the state board. Now I'd like to cover just a little bit of information from the industry-based certifications. Lisa Mitten asked about, are these finalized? And Lisa, as I understand it, they are finalized because that information has been posted in the Texas Register. And then just a little bit about industry-based certifications. There were some changes to an amendment to 74103, which established the criteria for industry-based certifications. And there was an amendment done. And basically that amendment talked about how TEA could use a third-party organization. And then it also went in there and clarified what a capstone program was. And a capstone program, as you can read in this definition, meant that a single course or a culmination of high school courses within a program of study must have at least 50% overlap between the certification assessment standards and the essential knowledge and skills. So I don't think, and that stays within a program of study. What we don't know yet is if a student has, let's say, a student obtains somehow a Microsoft Word certification, but never takes a business course, is that going to apply? We just don't know that yet, and we won't know until the commissioner's ruling. But those were the clarifications that I wanted to point out, and I had a couple of calls asking about that. And I really think that these were the rules as we understood them. They've just been clarified. Also, Sammy over at EduThings on the last roundtable, they were asking, well, are districts losing money or gaining money? And we really don't know comprehensively, but Sammy was nice enough to look at the districts that participate in EduThings, and he sent this email with this data. Overall, there was a 3.07% drop in weight in CTE, and 26.9% of the districts are seeing a gain in funding, and their average gain was 3.16. 73% of the districts are seeing a loss in funding, and their average loss is about 5%. And so, Sammy, we appreciate you looking at that information anecdotally. I do believe that as districts adjust to the weighted funding changes, that every school or most schools will see a net gain over the years. But right now, anecdotally, as we see with the information that came from EduThings, this is what we're seeing. And Sammy's on here today, so if anyone has questions. So thank you very much for being here, Elvis. And I'm going to stop sharing and get back out here into the gallery. Anyone have any questions or comments they would like to start off with? And it doesn't have to pertain to the update either.
Well, I'll start, Mark. Robin, do you know, or Mark, y'all know, is anybody putting on a presentation about CLNA, your CLNA data at conference? And the reason I'm asking is we got our data the other day, and we're seeing some some conflicts in definitions when we're going through looking at our data, what the guidebook says and what it says actually on the reports. And so, Laura, you might chime in because we were all looking at that the other day. We already started on our CLNA stuff, but there was kind of some conflicts in definitions, wasn't there, Laura?
The main one that made us go was looking at the certification attainment in the guide that TEA posted about it. The definition of what they're looking for, I think it was 5S1, singled out concentrators instead of saying concentrators and completers. That was like the denominator. Looking at our numbers, I think they pulled both the concentrators and completers, but like David said, that was just weird that they said it that way, where everywhere else they say CTE learners, which includes both of those. In the guide, it specifically said concentrators.
So we just want to make sure that, and I don't know who we reach out to for that. Or I thought maybe somebody's putting on a presentation on that we could ask maybe.
Yeah, David, and I know that Robin called us all into a powwow yesterday, and one of the things that we looked at specifically was what sessions were being offered, because Leslie always does such a great job of matching the sessions to the room that's needed in the at the conference site. And so she's posting that in the website right now. TEA is actually going to present that. And as you can see, you get Dr. Kilgore and Dale Fowler is actually, they're signed up to be the presenters. And I think that Leslie actually posted the description of the session into the chat. Thanks, Leslie.
Okay.
Yeah, and we know that'll be a big one. And so I know that Leslie gave that one of the biggest rooms. Laura, I think that's very interesting, because as you were sitting there talking about it, I was just assuming that they were saying CTE concentrators because that's the lowest that you can grab that data. But you're right, everywhere else they call that a CTE learner, meaning either a 6 or 7. So it's very interesting that they, it could have just been just a language mistake, or but
I see in the chat where Lisa Harrison pointed out, yes, once you're a concentrator, once you're a completer, you were still technically a concentrator. I think our worry was if they're coded, now that everything's being auto-coded, If that's actually separate codes, we don't want there to be a slip up at some point and they're actually pulling just the one code. Because even when we were backtracking, and that was, this is looking at data from the year prior before we technically had concentrators. And so we had to go through a lot of things. Thankfully, we have edgy things and we were able to pull it fairly easily, but yeah, too confusing.
Y'all made Sammy smile over there on his avatar.
Yeah, that's the only way we could verify it because we had edgy things. So thank you, Sammy, for that.
Yeah, that's it's good. One of the things that we talked about are these districts are using multiple platforms, and they use edgy things to check OnSuite. So it's I think more districts are using two than one. So they're just all of these vendors are just invaluable partners to all of us. Robin, Lisa Harrison, if she's on here, she had some good news about a regional program of study. Lisa, are you on here, or Robin, could you share that?
Lisa's on here.
Lisa, are you in a place where you can hop on? She might have taken a call or something, Robin, if you don't mind sharing it.
Yep, hold on one second. Let me look up the name so I get it right.
Lisa's here. I can see her on the thing, but her mouth is moving and she's not coming through.
Oh.
Lisa, can you unmute? Let me see if I can unmute her. Oh, there she is. Lisa, you're unmuted, so if you don't mind sharing.
We still don't hear you, Lisa.
Thanks, Rob. No, ma'am, we can't hear you. Now try. No, ma'am. Can you turn up your... Try saying something, one more thing. No, yeah. Robin, if you did pull it up, do you mind, since we can't hear Lisa?
Okay, hang on while I dig through our 25 Slack channels to find where I posted that yesterday.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay, here it is. So, so yesterday, Lisa sent out a note to her districts that TEA approved a regional program of study for geospatial engineering and land surveying program of study. I think there might involve some drones somewhere. Anyway, it's another example of how prerequisites before advanced courses can come from multiple career clusters and programs of study, but that's a great win for North Texas. So good job, Lisa and districts.
Lisa, do you know what regions that will apply to? Is that just region 10 and 11, or is it just region 11? Can you post that? Just 11. Well, good luck to you guys in region 11. Fantastic. Thank you guys very much. And for those of you that have been kind of watching Tally, Joe Stout, and Tally, I hate to put you on the spot, but Tally has agreed to do the SPED pre-con workshop. And so Tally, if you'd like an opportunity to kind of preview that and kind of to recruit, we already have 43 signed up for that. So we're excited about that. This will be the second session that we had. Would you like to give some folks what they might learn at a pre-con if they signed up for the SPED pre-con?
So first, I have to say thanks for giving the opportunity, because it is always exciting to continue to share what amazing opportunities and collaboration. So what we found through some SPED collaboration recently, especially with our CCMR team from CTE and Pieces, is that there's a lot of components that they don't necessarily understand us and we don't understand them. And so we're gonna hopefully in this pre-conference, provide some of that information and collaboration, talk through some of the great FAQs that we've received over the years, and then collaborate in ways that we can develop our relationship better with SPED to be more successful for all special population students. So we're excited.
Thank you for agreeing to do that. If you've already registered, I think you can go back in there and amend your registration to add that pre-conference. And if you haven't registered, then you can certainly sign up for that when you do. So I know that a lot of folks went to that. I think we had about 35 go in the summer, and they said it was terrific. And so trying to rotate a presenter in that so we get a little new information. And Tally, we sure appreciate you doing that. And Robin, is there anything that we can share about Jeff and Ms. Bonds, or is that still kind of in the works?
I think those are still in the works.
Okay, very good. Okay, somebody give us a topic here. What someone want to know or put out to the group?
Hey, Mark, I was just sitting there as y'all were talking, going through that list of all of the chapter 127s, and I would recommend everybody do pay attention to some of these. For example, like practical education and training still has an instructional practices as a required prerequisite. So there are still some in there. You just gonna have to go through there and find the ones specifically for you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, on the practicum and education and training, you have to have the instructional practices. Right.
I'm actually interested if there were any updates on the different types of certifications that teachers needed to have as those classes move from one chapter to another.
On the innovative courses, excuse me, the innovative courses, they're all going to be in the innovative course application and in the approval process. But as they accept those and add the new courses, then they add those to, I think that's chapter 231 for the teacher assignment. And so it should be in there. And I don't think that if they're just changing the TEKS, they're changing the certification. But I think your question went more to the new courses that they're adding. And so those will be posted in chapter 231 as they're added. That's a great question, actually.
Mark, I
Yes,
know there was some talk about, closer to the first of this year, about trying to align our teacher certifications, the current teacher certifications, a little better with who actually can teach them. So for instance, like a marketing ed teacher can't teach certain business classes, those kinds of things. I know there was some talk about realigning some of that. Have you guys heard anything more about realigning some of those teacher certifications to really match more of the programs of study?
It looks like Ms. Schaefer's posted the teacher certification rules from SBEC into the chat. But to answer your question, I haven't, but maybe someone else has. Maybe someone that's on the TEA CTE Leadership Committee, if you'd be willing to share, if y'all heard anything, any discussion.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything in regards to, yeah, our leadership team meeting aren't really meet worthy yet.
Andrea, that might be a good question to shoot to, let's see, Katie Donahue in Region 11, and then in Region 10, it is, do you remember who it was from Region 10? If you shoot that question to Katie, I know she can make sure it got brought up at that leadership meeting.
Well, I know that the conversation was such that a lot of the, or some, at least some, a few of the programs of study that are out there in small rural schools, we really have to find one teacher that can teach the entire program of study. And if I have to have one teacher with 4 different certifications to teach the 4 different classes, it's a little bit harder. So I know that that's part of that conversation, but I will definitely shoot something over to Katie. Thank you, Mark.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's a great point. And Travis, Ms. Schaefer said that there have been some examples of some business teachers now being able to teach some marketing classes, which is reverse of what you were asking, but maybe they are addressing that as they go. Thank you, Ms. Schaefer, for posting that. And then Travis Clark asked if there was any update on Donna's work with TEA on House Bill 773. And she did not reach out with any changes, and she's so good about updating the group. So I assume that they haven't met yet. But the last time that they met, she shared during Roundtable that they didn't even discuss that. They discussed the changes to elementary was the big concern, and they talked about that the entire meeting. So at Donna's last meeting, they didn't even discuss it. So it's funny because here we are in January, and we were expecting an answer in February, and my guess is we're not going to get that answer in February, or they'll do it the last day of conference, like a lot of times we find out stuff. Seems like. Robin, did Donna reach out to you at all? Yeah.
Mark, this is Susie Mitchell. Have we heard anything about the new IBCs or the new list coming out?
Well, there's that third party that's still working on it. And I know, but as far as having a list, I haven't seen anything or even heard any kind of scuttle about the new list.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay. And any idea when it might come out? Have we heard anything? No.
Well, it was supposed to come out in February, but I'm not looking at that. And one of the things, you know, and you guys, same as I am, a lot of times we hear stuff from vendors before we'll hear it from anyone else. And I haven't heard anything from a vendor or anyone reaching out on the IBC list, because I think that third party has it and they must be going through a fine-tooth comb. I hope we don't lose any.
Yeah, exactly. I have one other question. Any other districts gotten approved yet for the teacher incentive allotment? And do I remember correctly from summer conference, going back to David Reynolds, I think I was in your session. Did you say y'all are approved and you're using your CTE excellence?
Yes, we are approved. We're using end of course tests for all our CTE teachers. We're using precision exams.
You're using precision exams, okay. Is there anyone using a rubric?
Is anyone on here from Aldine today? Miss Mitchell, you might reach out to Brooke Martin at Aldine, because when we were on the last roundtable, she said that their district had been approved and that Aldine had one they were using too.
Okay.
Usually Brooke's on here. I just don't see her today. Thank you, Miss Mitchell.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark, I have a couple of things I will share from some conversations that I've had with TEA. I've already shared most of these with our Area 6 team. But one thing coming up, when they look at concentrators and completers in the CTE coding, they were not pulling summer school data, but it's going to be announced pretty soon that starting in the summer of 22, they will be counting summer school participation when they are coding CTE concentrators and completers. So that's good news if your district does CTE programming in the summer. The other thing that we found out is that when they are doing when they are also coding, the formula does not pull if a student receives partial credit for a 2-credit course. So you need to be aware of that, which means like right now you should be auditing very carefully any of your failures from fall semester in a course so that they will hopefully grade average. They will pick up grade averaging, or they, or make sure that the student either gets put into the trailer course or so forth. So they won't be counting any partial credit earned. The formula doesn't call for that. And then away from the coding, the other thing that we found out is we had a situation here in Alief. We use the CTE permit versus the District of Innovation, and we use them pretty regularly. And we had a situation where we encourage them to go on, and if they are going to stay in education, to work on their certification. We know they can't have started their certification with an alternative program prior to permitting, But after the fact, we were encouraging them. And all of a sudden our HR department thought that that was not correct and that we were going to have to let some people go. It was a very rough few hours, 48 hours, but we did. And I'm going to mark this to having a friend from Area 6 now at TEA, Ms. Kilgore. She has been Johnny on the spot, getting us in touch whenever any of us contact her with who we need to talk with. But we received an official response that says, no, once they are on the CTE permit, they can then go ahead and work towards pursuing certification with an alternative program. That our goal is not to keep them down. It's to let them grow. So.
Thank you, Ms. Crow. Those are great points. Ms. Crow, do you know, since they're going to be pulling the summer submission on CTE courses that are passed in summer school, which I know we don't have a lot of these, but are they also going to pull IBCs that are reported in the summer?
Those are already submitted. Anything that's earned from June 1st through August 31st are already go in on your fall submission. So they pull that
the next fall, but I wonder if they're going to start pulling it in the summer now.
Well, all of this summer submit, anything that's earned in summer school goes in on that fall submission. Anything that happens between June 1st and August 31st in a district, whether it's your later graduates, your summer graduates, your summer school, all of that information goes in with the fall submission. It's considered summer 2.
Gotcha.
So that's when that will be the timeline for it.
Thank you, Ms. Crow, very much. Ashley asked if there will be an administrator roundtable session at the conference, and yes, there will be. There'll be that peer-to-peer, just like we had in the summer, and there'll be one for administrators and one for counselors. So there will for sure be a. We don't call it per se roundtable at the conference. We call it peer-to-peer, but that's what it'll be. And then determined about IBC points for accountability to earn a full point. Right now, as the rule stands, they earn a full point for any industry-based certification earned that's on the approved list. What we don't know is what it will be going forward. And then, I mean, when we know, you'll know, and it's not been set up yet.
In conversations with TEA on that, it's been real interesting because so with the coding piece, once we know what the coding points are going to be for a completer, whether they're going to be a half or one, or they're going to tie it into something else. It's funny because the people on this end that are determining and doing all the collection of your concentrators and completers, they are so opposite. They have no idea about the CCMR piece, the CCR piece. And so when I was having a conversation with one of them, I mentioned, because right now, if you, you get your data for your previous year's graduates sometime in late May, early June, and there's a window that you can file an appeal if any of the information is incorrect. So in my mind, you're going to be able to file an appeal for any information that is not correct on your concentrators and your completers, such as transfer courses if they didn't pick it up, or if they had earned a certification in another district. I mean, those type of things. So they were real interesting, but on the concentrators and completers, they were like, what do you mean an appeal? What do you mean? Well, I'm already in anticipation, because you can file appeals to your accountability. I've already created a database of any student that would reach completer, but they're not showing in our system as a completer yet because they have transfer courses, so that we will know those kids a year from now in June to like whatever the process is going to be. So it's kind of an interesting information because it's two different sides. And this group never knows anything. They did not know that there was an appeal process when it comes to CCMR.
Well, if I was TEA, I wouldn't want to see Miss Crow coming at me with an appeal. I'd just change it. Thank you guys very much. Okay, let's see. We had another Rick. I don't even know if I can read that. I wouldn't even know what a place like Dirty Nellie's was, but Rick said he might put together an informal meeting at Dirty Nellie's for some of you at the conference. Rick, you can just share that with the others. And then Lisa said that Anthony, in terms of talking about accountability points and the industry-based certification, Lisa posted in here that Anthony said that they will share that with the entire accountability reset. Lisa, with a thumbs up or thumbs down, because I know you're muted, can you tell us if we'll know that at conference?
Can you hear me now?
We can, loud and clear.
All right, I think I finally fixed the headset. So he presented, did an accountability presentation in our region back in December. And I cornered him afterwards and said, you know, you kind of skimmed over that. And he said, like Don had shared with you, that in committee, they just stopped talking about that they tabled it for a while. There's a lot of pieces of this reset, and that's just one section of it. And I think it's become a fairly contentious debate back and forth as they're working their way through. And he said they hadn't even talked about the CTE piece in December, that the earliest they'd even start talking about it again was January, and it might not be till February. And that he did not anticipate that they would share that information separate from the rest of it, that it would be shared out when the entire accountability reset is released. And that could be as late as May, but the hope is it's April. He did say it will definitely count, whatever the change is, it will count for your 2022 grads, because you know that was written in the legislature piece. So they don't have a choice on that. We just don't know what your 2022 grads will be accountable for.
Nothing like having to kick at a goalpost you can't see. Awesome, awesome info. Anyone else have another topic? Always get into some good ones.
I think Rick's trying to steal my red Solo Cup award away from me. I don't know where Dirty Nelly's now, Rick.
He's posing on you.
That's right. Come on now.
How about both of you show up there and we'll decide which one of you gets the red Solo Cup?
Uh-oh, that sounds like a challenge, Susie.
It is.
A little competition always makes both players better, so I got faith in both of you.
Everybody put away their cell phones. No cameras.
Awesome. Robin, do we have anything else that's new that we know about conference? I think we covered it all last time, didn't we?
Well, I suppose we should let the cat out of the bag that our socials hosted by ICEV is going to be at Howl at the Moon.
Oh, do we know that for sure? Awesome.
We better make it happen now.
Yeah, Leslie. Leslie just went. Okay, that is fantastic news. That's a short walk there and a short walk back.
And there's a Whataburger on the way.
I've heard that too.
Walk, stumble.
Yeah.
Either works.
Well, we're maybe done a little bit early today. Hang on here. Is anyone else, this is from Ms. Schulz, anyone else doing TCLAS Decision 4 with education and training teacher stipends?
We are in Goose Creek.
Okay, Goose Creek, very good.
We are in Red Oak.
As well.
We are doing it in Birdville.
Ms. Schulz, that's about 5 districts. Do you want some specific emails from those folks, or Burt Burnett's doing it as well? Is there anything specifically you wanted to ask about that process?
No, I'm writing them down fast.
Oh, there you are.
So I can, sorry about that. I'm writing them down so I can get with these folks afterwards. I just want to make sure we're doing things the right way and doing what we need to be doing. So,
could you explain to us just a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, it's through the T-Class grant, kind of the COVID money. that was available. And the way I'm reading it is, if you have teachers that are in the ed and training pathway, teaching instructional practices, they have to go to a summer program this summer, and then they'll be eligible for a stipend, grant, however you want to say it, from the state, paid directly to them for trying out a different kind of curriculum, kind of a grow your own is what they're calling it. So we can bring out Texas educators in Texas and start with high school students.
Bretton, would you mind sending me that in an email to mark@ctat.org?
Sure.
That'd be a good thing to post on Connect. And then I also have an education and training list of email teachers that I send out to when I get stuff like that.
So basically what it is it's for the past quite a few years, TEA's been doing the Grow Your Own grant. We were actually recipients. We're finishing up cycle 3 right now. And then we've also applied for the T class. So they're just putting it in a different, it's the same Grow Your Own grant. It's just in a different place.
So
different.
Ms. Cox, that's everyone will not necessarily have to get that money. It's just the teachers that are involved in a Grow Your Own grant program. Is that correct?
That basically that's what it is. And with the T class, it was a part of that whole grant.
Gotcha. Thank you guys very much. That's interesting info.
Since because we're also doing a PTEK through the T class grant as well. And so have you gotten, after that initial video and seminar webinar that we did, have you gotten any communication at all?
One of our assistant soups got with me, and they sent out an email about when the institute was going to be, and it kind of had some deadlines on it. Grow your own office hours and things like that. That came out on Saturday at 9:14 in the morning is whenever they got the email from GYOgrant@tea.texas.gov. So I haven't gotten any info specifically. This came from him, but I'm happy to send it to you if you want to see. It's to the T class decision for leaders. So.
Okay, and I thought maybe that our assistant soups got it, and I just haven't. It hasn't found its way down the chain yet, too.
Yeah. If you'll put your email in the chat, I'll send it over to you if you want.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Seguin.K12.
Perfect.
Thank you, Brett. I would appreciate it too.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Sometimes if it's part of that Grow Your Own grant, they'll post all the correspondence on that grant opportunities page that's associated with Grow Your Own grant, depending on the cycle.
Well, I don't want to hijack this, but like I say, I'm brand new. I had no idea about the Grow Your Own grant. That wasn't even anything I've ever seen before. So whenever we found out about this, we said, well, great, we already have we can already check all the boxes. We're just going to get teachers some more money. And so it seemed like a no-brainer, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. But I appreciate y'all.
Well, thank you. That's a good question. Good topic. Okay, anyone else? I certainly don't want to hurry you up, but we certainly want to respect your time. And so I'm going to do a last call here. If anyone has a topic they'd like to discuss with the group or share or get ideas on, now's the time. Otherwise, I'm going to stop the recording, and then we might have a little informal chat here in a second. Last call. Group topics? All right. Very good. Thank you to everyone for being here and participating. And at this time, I'm going to stop the recording. And usually we have a little Slack conversation at the end, but if we don't, we don't. But thank you all for being here. And this is going to be a fantastic resource if some folks missed it. Thank you.